Allies in Afghanistan have been abandoned, people that we fought alongside with for 20 years. We left the intelligence. We had 13 service members killed, one missing an arm and his leg. We evacuated 120,000 plus Afghans that are unvetted. We have no idea where they're at in our country. And now we're sending them $40 to $87 million a week, $7.1 billion in equipment left behind. I'd like to talk about the power grid, but I'd like to start with one of the major concerns in the veteran community is the way that the Afghanistan withdrawal happened.
Terrible.
We had 13 service members killed, one missing an arm and his leg, $7.1 billion in equipment left behind. Allies in Afghanistan have been abandoned, people that we fought alongside with for 20 years. We left the intelligence at our bases that depict where they live, biometrics, everything. Taliban's hunting them down, killing them, raping their wives, raping their kids. We evacuated 120,000 plus Afghans that are unvetted. We have no idea where they're at in our country. And now we're sending them $40 to $87 million a week. It's so bad that I did an interview with Ahmad Massoud. He's the leader of the Afghan resistance.
Right. We
wanted to get in front of Congress to warn us about the oncoming threat that we're facing because we're funding the Taliban. We had made a petition. It now has almost 300,000 signatures. We got it to Representative McCall. He's done nothing, not one thing. Why do you think Congress doesn't want to see Massoud?
Well, I'm surprised when you say McCall is a good man. But I was so against that whole thing. You know, just so you know, I wanted to get out, but I wanted to get out with dignity and strength. I spoke to the head of the Taliban on numerous occasions because they were killing our soldiers. They were snipers, and they were killing our soldiers during Obama and a little bit during me at the beginning. And I heard about it. And I said, get the head of the Taliban. And the press went crazy when they heard I was speaking to him on a telephone. And I told him in a pretty tough way, but nice enough, don't do it. Abdul, his name is. Abdul, he's still there. He's still the head. And I said, don't do it. And he understood that. And in 18 months, not one person was killed. You know that during my time.
Yes.
Nobody would have been killed. Then we had a rigged election, and they took over, and it started. It started in a lot of places. Russia started to form along the border. Would have never happened if I was president. But and by the way, October 7th would have never happened in Israel because Iran was broke. They had no money to do anything. Now they have $300 billion. They made it all in the last 3.5 years. I said, anybody that buys from... I just wanted to have a deal with Iran. Very simple deal. Can't have a nuclear weapon. That's it. I want them to be happy. I want them to have great lives. I want them to have a great country. Can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. And I would have had that deal done within a week after the election. But the election was a disgrace to our country, another disgrace. But with Afghanistan, you had to get out. But we were going to get out with dignity and strength. We were going to take our people out, our Americans out. We have people living there, as you said, better than anybody could say it. When you said raping the wives, raping the people, I mean, I assume that could be happening. But can you imagine we didn't take them out? The military ran out first. It was almost like they ran. We didn't remember this. We didn't have one problem for 18 months with them. And the Taliban's rough. They're good fighters. They're ancient fighters in a way, their equipment and everything else, but they're good, very good fighters. But we had no problems. And then when this happened and when I was out, they heard that the military was gone. And I could just imagine somebody coming back and saying, Abdul, the Americans have left. The soldiers are gone. He probably said, you fool. Don't ever tell me that nobody could be so stupid. But Milley was a stupid person, very stupid. You know, we have great generals, but Milley was stupid. Guys like John Kelly are he's one of the dumbest people I've ever met. A bully, but a weak bully. And, you know, we just have some stupid people. Kelly wasn't so involved in that, but we have some really stupid people at the top. But a little bit lower down, the non-television generals are phenomenal. I beat I took out 100% of the ISIS caliphate. I took out ISIS.
I do.
It was supposed to take 5 years. I did it in 3 weeks. And we have great generals and we have great military, and they're not woke, Sean. The people that are woke are the top people. They should all get out. And I'll tell you another thing. I fired a lot of people when they don't do a good job. I fire them. I think it's important. Biden's never fired anybody. She's never fired anybody. Everybody involved in that horrible, most embarrassing day, you understand that. I think it's the most embarrassing day in the history of our country.
It's humiliating.
I think it told Putin, hey, I'm going to go in now. These guys are nothing. That's what it did. And it gave President Xi of China the right to fly bombers all over Taiwan, which he's doing. I mean, it's just a question of time. Although if I get in, I think it's a different story. But it gave him the right to do things that he never did with me. He never was flying. The other day, they flew 38 bombers over Taiwan. They're surrounded by ships and everything. A lot of bad things are happening there. But whoever worked on Afghanistan should be fired. The generals should all be fired. That was the most incompetent thing. They left first, and they left Bagram. Bagram's one of the biggest air bases in the world. You probably know it. You're a military guy. And with the most powerful runways, like 9 feet thick, and just can handle the biggest loads of cargo and everything. But more importantly, it's 1 hour from where China makes its nuclear weapons, right? And we gave it up, just walked away, just left the lights on, walked away. They left the dogs too, by the way. A lot of people say, what about the dogs? They had a lot of dogs there. The German Shepherd special dogs. Mm-hmm. They left them all. Taliban doesn't like dogs, by the way.
Yeah.
But they left the dogs. They left the lights on, and they just fled. There was no reason to leave, but they did. We did want to get out, but I wanted to keep Bagram. And I was set to get out. It was enough already. I was going to take all the equipment. First of all, I was going to get the Americans out. Then I would have gotten some of the people that helped us, but you don't want to go crazy with that. And then, the interpreters, et cetera, because they had some good people that are probably dead now. The people that got on those planes, that was like survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
The toughest people got on the planes. And those tough people were enemies of ours in many cases.
Yes.
And they got on those planes. And many of the people got on those planes, but they didn't get inside. They were on the outside, and they fell off the plane at 3,000 feet, which is like 3 times the height of the Empire State Building. They fell off the plane. Those scenes of those planes taking off way up in the air, going at 400 miles an hour, and the people falling off the planes.
They won't show those
The whole thing
anymore.
was so horrible.
They won't show that footage anymore.
They don't show it. They don't. Oh, you're right. I never thought of it. You're right. And they never talk about it. You notice? They don't talk about that. They don't talk about the border. And just to bring you up to date, today it was learned that 818,000 jobs that they said were produced were not produced. They don't talk about that. Yesterday it was revealed, 2 days ago, it was revealed that Joe Biden and the family stole $27 million. Can you imagine if Trump stole $27 million or $2?
It would be
They would have stopped everything. They would have stopped the Democrat convention. They'll say, let's make it next week. Biden, it was revealed by Congress, by committees in Congress, I think 3 committees, confirmed $27 million stolen by the family or something having to do with Biden. And you don't hear about that. I didn't see any stories about it. I saw a little piece on Fox, but outside of that, I didn't read one story about it. Can you imagine? They confirmed that $27 million, the night that he made the speech, which was a very nasty speech, the hatred he had for the people that overthrew him. It was an overthrow. It was a coup. He screams. Everything is, he's like screaming all the time. It's like very uncomfortable. But I understand his screaming. He's got a disorder. But Nancy Pelosi and Barack Hussein Obama and a group of people went to him. They said, you either get out or we're going to wheel in the 25th Amendment.
What did you think when you got that news?
That he was leaving?
That he was leaving. Did you know he was going to leave?
Yeah,
There was
I knew
a
him
lot of
little bit,
speculation
but
around
I
that.
dealt with him. I mean, my primary contact with him was during the debate. And the debate was very early, if you remember, because he didn't even really have the nomination yet, or, so I didn't care. I gave up everything. I said, they gave me a thing. They really didn't want to debate. They gave me CNN. They gave me Dana Bash. They gave me, who's, not exactly my best friend. And they gave me what I used to call fake Tapper, but I don't call them fake anymore because I thought they were very fair. Both of them were very fair during the debate. But they gave me two people that I would never take. They gave me a network that I would never take, a cable station, CNN. They said, we'd like you will both sit down. I said, look, let's stand up, okay? I was able, that's the only point I got. And they gave me all of these. They said there's no audience. I'd rather have an audience, but they say there's no audience. And they said, we're going to cut your mic off after your question. So they gave me everything. And they thought I'd reject it. I said, I'll take it because it was the only way I could debate him. And they were surprised I took it, but they sort of had to go forward with it. And we went forward. And I wouldn't say he performed brilliantly. This was not Winston Churchill. And he was very white. He wore very white makeup. I don't know what happened to him. I don't think his makeup artist did a great job, actually. I walked in, I said, man, is he white? But he didn't perform too well. And that's where it started with him. There was no chance of that happening before that.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't think he was exactly sharp. He wasn't the brightest bulb in the ceiling, as the expression goes, right? But that's when it started. And then he did a series of interviews to show that he's actually okay. And they were real setup interviews. George Papadopoulos for ABC. ABC is the worst of the group, by the way. They're doing the debate. They were going to do the debate. I made a deal with Fox and ABC and also NBC. He's turned down Fox. He's turned down NBC. He'll only do ABC.
Interesting.
ABC is actually the worst of the group, believe it or not. The nastiest. If you're in my line of work, which can be a very dangerous line of work, by the way, I was telling the people at the border, they said, there are some people out there that are pretty rough on the border. And I said, I think so. But I said to them, it's actually very dangerous being the president. It's actually a pretty dangerous line of work, if you think.